Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a really cool feature for you today. Going to focus on Magico speakers because Peter with worldwide sales of Magico came down to Houston, visited 3MA Audio, a new dealer of Magico, and was training them on how to set up speakers as well as assist them with the existing models they have, the M6 and the A5. They also have an S7 at one of my friend's house right now doing a demo of those. So training the dealer on how to set them up and learning Magico's setup process is something that is very important when you're choosing a speaker, because what I've learned over the years is that manufacturers that put a lot of cool stuff is in driver technology, cabinet, and all those things, and certainly Magico is near the top at doing state-of-the-art stuff in that area, but you can only go so far with that technical stuff. And parts and stuff. You have to set it up properly in your room. And that's the difference between getting the maximum performance of what you buy and not. So hearing how they set it up and the recommendations, I was asking questions, very helpful Peter was, and minimum distance to be seated, toe in, what they usually recommend, distances, what they listen for. Everybody has a different methodology for setting up speakers, and every room sometimes requires you to pivot and make adjustments to it. So that was intriguing to hear and important to hear, because so many people just buy Magico on the used market or whatnot and never get that thorough training from a dealer or from Magico themselves on how to set things up. So he's going to talk a little bit about the challenges and things that they did at the setup in 3MA store with the M6s. And I'll have more in the future. They actually invited me to come to their facility. I did feature a walkthrough of their facility that the 3MA guys did a few months ago, but I couldn't make that trip. So they invited me to come up in, I think, January, end of January. I'm going to come up there and pay a visit to their facility. They've got a new speaker coming out. I think many people have seen the press release of that. So maybe I'll have a little bit more on that. And what I want to really focus on in the visit is giving you guys that either own Magico or want to potentially own Magico more, not only on the facility and the stuff that has already been featured on my videos in the past, but a little bit more on the techniques for setting things up and nuances that can pay off if you do own Magicos, getting the utmost performance from it, or tell you if this is going to work in your room ideally or not. So enjoy this little walkthrough with Peter at 3MA Audio. All right, guys, we're back here at 3MA Audio. Got special guests all the way from California and the company of Magico. I'll let Luis give a little preview and introduction here.
Well, as most of the subscribers know, we are a Magico dealer. We do have right now 2 models on display. We're waiting on the rest of our demos to come in, but feel free to stop by and listen to what we do have on display. And you're going to get to see 2 of those models in this video. We have Peter McKay. He's with Magico. He's actually their global sales person for the whole company, and the entire world. So he has vast knowledge, a lot of experience setting up speakers all over the world, and we have the special treat of having him here. So he was able to help us with the Magico M6s and setting up the room, which is in our store. If you've never been, we'll invite you in, but it's a very challenging room in comparison to probably most people's homes. So if they sound really, really good here, which they do, they're going to sound even better in your house. So I'll let Peter kind of talk through some of the challenges we faced and what has been done here, and talk a little more about the technology from Magico.
Well, I think most people are focusing right now on your shoes, Luis, but you're actually blocking the great speakers that we...
Why are my shoes blocking the speaker? I don't get it.
But yeah, those are the M6s, and these are actually a pair that a friend of mine purchased, and we're setting up until we move him to his home, and I've featured him on the channel in the future. But yeah, Peter, why don't you give us a little rundown of how you helped here set these up a little better?
Yes, well, thank you for the introduction, Luis. And it's a pleasure for us to partner with 3MA Audio and the N6, one of Alone's masterpiece products, and it's a floor-standing 3-way loudspeaker system. Many people that know Magico know that we use aluminum in our enclosure construction, And with the M series, we incorporate carbon as well as aluminum. And because carbon, we can shape a shell, which is a monocoque enclosure, and with a front cover, baffle, rear spine, top and bottom caps, seal the enclosure, which all Magico products are sealed, and have an optimized internal air volume for the drivers to work within, and yet have a very organically shaped enclosure with actually no right angles, either internally and externally on this enclosure. In fact, during the setup process, we have a front metal cap that sits on top of this enclosure because it gives us actually right angles to measure off of using a laser measurement device.
Interesting.
At Magico, we design all of our own transducers. So this is a diamond-coated beryllium dome tweeter, 28 millimeter. This is a 6-inch mid-range driver. We're using carbon and graphene. So it's a very thin layer of carbon, and the stiffening agent is the graphene. So we're using two materials to yield a lighter weight but much stiffer cone. 6-inch driver. This works within its own sub-enclosure, which is shaped like a flute. These are 10-inch, actually 10.5-inch base drivers, also formed out of carbon with graphene applied. And they, of course, they're all electrically connected, and they work within the entire enclosure volume. We use a 3-point footer system on the enclosure, and on the footer, you'll see it's called an M-pod. So the M-pod is designed based on constrained layer damping, and the way they work is they will receive energy either up from the floor or down from the enclosure, and the copper substrate actually heats up and gets rid of resonance while preserving a firm coupling of the loudspeaker to the floor. So at Magico, we recommend perfect coupling to the floor, but the M-pod or S-pod or A-pods that thread onto either the A-series, S-series, or M-series speakers will give you a much quieter noise floor because it rids of unwanted resonance.
Yeah, so it's built for the speaker and its size. You don't have to worry about aftermarket footers and stuff like you do with a lot of other speakers.
That's correct.
So obviously you thought of a lot of stuff from driver cabinet, footers, everything. The other thing, though, that goes into getting the utmost sound is setup. So that was one of the big advantages of you coming out here today, having the experience. Maybe you can walk through the basic parameters of setting up these Magicos and some of the challenges you had here.
Certainly. So what we do at Magico is design an enclosure that does not store energy, and therefore it does not tend to actuate the room space. And reflection or room feedback can be detrimental to the overall sound quality of a great loudspeaker. And so if we push the speaker up against the wall, suddenly we're going to engage the wall space, the corner of the room, and it's going to feed back into the sound field of the speaker and create problems with presence of energy, too much bass overhang, overtones in the bass that you don't want and that are not natural. So we do a lot of work to prepare our owner's manuals. It's 2 pages dedicated to the placement and positioning of the loudspeakers. So we give all customers a complete overview, step-by-step process on how to approach any room, figure out the best positioning for the loudspeaker.
That's very important, yeah.
It's very, very important.
And to me, that's the difference between high-end and just buying something at Best Buy or just a regular brand speaker.
That's why Peter is here, to also train us. So any customer buying the speaker from us, we will go out there and set up the speaker for you.
Exactly.
Because we have not only the experience of being able to set up other multiple brands, but also we just got some training with Peter, and we were able to set up some of these speakers ourselves and be able to understand what he's saying about that cabinet not storing any energy and just shooting out the energy into the room. I mean, we can literally hear it. We would move the speaker from maybe a couple of inches from one spot to the next, and then the influence on the barriers would start interacting with the sound, and then you move it out, and then all of a sudden that sound would just push into the room, and you'd get this enormous presence of soundstage and depth and just clarity, and the bass impact is just so great. So That's the benefit of being able to buy from a dealer that is able to not only get trained, have the experience, be able to have direct communication with the manufacturer in order to get the best performance for your room. So that's also a definite benefit to getting a speaker like this. Not only do you get the manual, but you also get us to be able to set it up professionally for you.
Yeah, there's no substitute for experience, and having experience doing this daily, 8 hours a day, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Plus the ability as well with your other brands you carry with room treatments like we see in the back, if necessary. So yeah, this is a phenomenal speaker technology-wise, and yeah, the setup is definitely improved with your help, Peter. So
when we approach a room that presents some awkwardness, this is a century-old building, right?
It is,
so
yes.
the floors are different heights, and this speaker actually was about half an inch lower than the right. So we brought the floor up to the speaker. The M-Pod device works best when it's coupled firmly to the outrigger. So instead of lowering the M-Pod, we brought the floor up with aluminum discs to get the tweeters at the same height.
right.
When you're using a stereo pair of loudspeakers and setting them up, there's 3 zones of gain that you want to work with and manage. Right channel, left channel, and the center channel, which is your ghost channel. So ultimately, to make the speakers disappear, you want to set them up in such a manner that the gain level of the right and left speakers equals the center channel, and the speakers disappear in the room.
Yeah,
So
that's
even as awkward as this room is, given the age of the building, we managed to bring the speakers out from the rear wall perfectly to load bass to the seating area, to eliminate confusion from the corner and sidewall. The speaker back originally a little further, maybe about 12 inches. It was getting congestion over in this corner. So by bringing it out just by 10 or 12 inches, it eliminated that room feedback
right.
and launched bass energy to the seating area in a much more effective, dynamic way.
Speaking of launching energy, you got to make sure that you got the right gear to do so. So we're connecting these M6s with the Boulder 2160, 600 watt Class A at 8 ohms, 1200 at 4 ohms. So plenty of power to be able to drive these things. And they're matching preamplifier, the 2110. So, this system is sounding the best I've heard it yet, and we really appreciate you, Peter, for coming down and helping us out with this.
Pleasure.
One thing I want to mention about this speaker, although it may not have the ginormous height and big footprint of some of its competitors, it punches way above that. The sound that comes out of this is so big, and the footprint is perfect because it's able to fit in most people's homes. I mean, yes, the speaker is heavy. I mean, it's not something you're gonna be bench pressing anytime soon, but the form, the fit, the finish of the component of the speaker. We went to the factory. You can watch, maybe Jason, you can put a link of the video where he's explaining some of the technology. I mean, we were blown away by what we saw in the factory and what goes into building a speaker like this. And don't be surprised by the size. This speaker really fills the room with sound and is able to give you dynamics that you've never heard before. Just because the same principle, right? The materials they're using, that energy is not being stored back into the wood cabinet. It's just shot out into the room because the aluminum and the carbon fiber is not storing any energy. It's just put out into the room, and you can hear all that when you're listening to a speaker like this.
Yeah, so you were actually talking about the facility visit, and I'll link that video in this one. But I might be visiting soon, and you also have an announcement that y'all just made public. I know you can't share too much about it, but you want to just give it a little teaser?
So yeah, 2 days ago we launched a teaser ad for a new product that will be launched Q1 2023, and it's a new speaker replacing the S3 Mark II, which has been vacant for a couple of years.
Okay, so on my visit, probably I'll get a chance to see that and hear it. And
capture a glimpse of
Okay.
everything that's going on there. But
That'll be exciting. So,
the NDA you have to sign? Is
okay, no problem. Now, this will fit in a lot of homes, as Luis says, but it won't fit in a lot of people's budget. But you do, what's great about Magico, you offer tons of different models and different ranges. Let's take a look at the A series, because that was impressing me as well. That's also here. And maybe you can talk about the driver complement here is not that far off from what you're using technology-wise in the M9s you were saying, right?
Correct. So this is the, scoot around here, this is the
Okay.
A5 loudspeaker, and this has been out now for about a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years. So again, all of Magico's own transducer designs. We're using a 28 millimeter beryllium dome tweeter. This is a 5-inch mid-range cone. This is a new driver, Magico's first pure mid-range driver. The cone material is used, it's formed of a sandwiched honeycomb aluminum that also has graphene applied for stiffening. Same thing applies to the 9-inch bass drivers, which there are 3 of. And again, this is using the same cone material. And this same cone material is used in the M9 loudspeakers.
Okay.
Now the chassis and basket motor structure is very different, of
Sure.
course. All the drivers that we make for A series are purpose-built. All the drivers for the S series are purpose-built and different, more robust. And of course, M series, that's our most advanced transducer.
Yeah, but this is no slab. This is over 200 pounds, huh?
It's, yes.
And,
so much so that the spikes yesterday went right into the floor, so we had to put the floor savers back on. But yeah, this is a formed after the Q series.
Okay.
Enclosure Design. The mid-range has its own sub-enclosure, so it's not disturbed by the back pressure of the bass drivers. You can see with 3 9-inch drivers, the bass capability on a larger space from this relatively small footprint in the loudspeaker is amazing. Sealed chamber, all aluminum, and something new that will take place for next year is these have been available in black only. We're now offering a silver
Oh, cool.
finish. So
Okay.
that's going to come out as a new product offering. So the A1, A3, and A5 will all be available in black and or silver.
Cool. And the price point on this is around what, 27?
27,000.
Okay,
Just
so
under 30,000.
I mean, we're talking about a 200-pound speaker with all that technology, the graphene. You know, people have put $20,000 or even more on speakers that don't have as much technology involved, for sure. So, yeah. So to show you guys both near cost, no object M6 with this, and then I'll be doing a facility tour soon. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks a lot, Peter, for coming out and sharing some stuff.
Appreciate your time.